Ashley Bookishram, and I am back with another video. So, I'm exhausted. I am so tired, and I'm filming this video. I still haven't commented on videos that I posted recently. It's just been super crazy. Super crazy because I have been super busy with work, super busy with the baby, and I have not been getting a lot of reading done. Not as much as I think I'm getting done, as much as I want to get done. My TBR, I don't know if I'm gonna even get through that list. It's just, I want to read the physical books on my TBR, but it's so hard with a baby. So, but actually that's why I'm here today. So as you can see by the title of this video, it's how to read more mommy edition. So a lot of times I have people ask me, like, how am I reading so much, especially since I'm a full-time mom, I have a full-time job, like, where do I find time to read? This is not an exact science. This is what works for me. I'm not saying that this is something that would necessarily work for everybody, but these are just some ideas that I do have in being a new mom and figuring out how to read more or how to keep my reading pace up. Last year, I did have my baby, and I still ended up reading 146 books last year, which is pretty darn crazy having a newborn. Not even an infant, a newborn, and still managing to find time to read. I will say that I think that for me, reading is my personal time. Like, that is my personal space where I like to relax and just enjoy. For a lot of people, that can be different things. I know there are moms that like to work out, moms that like to cook, moms that just like to watch TV shows. Reading is kind of my space, so I make sure that I find time to read. And also my job kind of helps with my flexibility and ability to read a lot. So there are several different ways in which I read. I will say, just as a forewarning, that physical reading is a little bit more difficult. Physical reading is more difficult because I have a lot of stuff that I have to do around the house. That's hands-on. A lot of stuff that I have to do with the baby. Of course, that's hands-on. And a lot of stuff at work that's kind of hands-on. So I will be honest with you and let you know that my physical reading is not as high as it was before. What has changed and what I think is really, really great is audiobooks. I am a huge advocate for audiobooks. I think they are great if you are a busy individual and you're just looking to read more, even if you're watching this and you're like, I'm not a mom. But you know, if you're just busy in general, I think that audiobooks are the quick and dirty way that I have gotten a lot of reading done, to be honest with you. So there are two ways that I listen to audiobooks. The first way that I listen to audiobooks is through an app called Libby, which is the same thing as Overdrive. Libby just has a better interface. It's more user-friendly, but they are connected to the same company, which is Overdrive. And Overdrive is a company that most people have access to through their library. So here we go again, Ashley shamelessly plugging in. If you don't have a library card, go get one. Support your local library. So it's a great feature to have. I won't say that every collection is the same because that is solely dependent upon how your library does their budgeting and how much they put towards collection, and then how much of that collection money they put towards ebooks and e-audio. So I'm fortunate to not only have access to, but also work for a system where we have a great amount of access to ebooks and e-audiobooks, even with the whole thing that's currently happening with Macmillan. If you don't know, let me know and I'll explain it to you guys about the whole situation that's going on with Macmillan. But we still have access to great stuff. So I actually have my phone here and I can show you kind of what my checkout list looks like when I have audiobooks, because I don't read a lot of ebooks from my library. I do read ebooks, but not necessarily a lot. So essentially what ends up happening is I have a whole list of things just checked out from my library. Some of them I have a long wait list for, so these are ones that I currently have checked out. It's like The Chestnut Man, The Whisper Man, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Five Love Languages, The Wedding Date, The Giver of Stars, and then also in Libby, or if you use Overdrive, you can put things on hold. So you guys can kind of see right here, this is a sneak peek of what I'll be reading over the course of the next few months. These are the, let's see if this will focus and not on my face. There we go. Okay, so these are the e-audiobooks that I currently have on a waiting list for me to check out soon. So the way that I do that is that I kind of stack and kind of figure out strategically what audiobooks I can currently listen to, which ones have a long enough wait list that I can put them on hold and kind of save them, but I always have a good grouping of audiobooks checked out. Now with audiobooks, some people listen to their audiobooks on 2x speed. I personally do not, because I think it's just a little too fast for me. And honestly, in most cases, I start off listening to an audiobook on 1.25 speed because I want to make sure that I'm understanding the setting of the book, the characters, the general plot. Once I've kind of grasped that base knowledge, I then move it up to 1.5. If it's something that I'm like super comfortable with, I will move it up to 1.75, but usually my sweet spot is 1.5. So not only am I able to listen to this while I'm at work, while I'm making my commute in the morning, I don't have a straight hour commute, but by the time I drop my baby off to daycare, and by the time I go from home to daycare, daycare to work, like it's an hour commute. So that knocks a lot of time off. If you think I'm listening to stuff at 1.5 speed, I'm definitely listening to a good chunk doing all that in the morning, and then it's the same routine when we leave, and then I can listen to it at work when I come home and I have to make bottles, I have to get dinner on the table, you know, I have to get her ready for bed. There's still an audiobook playing in the background. So in a day, on average, I can listen to 5 to 6 hours of an audiobook. In the grand scheme of most audiobooks, that's about half a book a day. I know it seems like a lot because it is a lot, but it goes by so quickly. It goes by super quickly. So that's why I'm able to finish so much material. Really, like, audiobooks are probably the #1 reason why I'm still able to read so much. I can understand why people don't like audiobooks. I don't understand when people say that they don't count audiobooks as reading, because that to me just is illogical. But but I do understand why people sometimes have a more difficult time listening to audiobooks for attention reasons. It can be the narrator. Sometimes a book can be great, and sometimes a narrator can ruin an entire book. It has happened to me before, trust me. And it's nothing worse than listening to an audiobook that has a horrible narrator. But I can do, if anyone is interested, I can do a recommendation video for audiobooks if you want me to, because I listen to so many. So I do have some great ones out there that I think people would typically enjoy, because the narration is so good, or there's cast narration and sound effects and stuff, and it makes it just a wonderful experience. So that is the #1 way that I have been reading more. The second way that I've been reading more, and let me actually backtrack. In addition, and I didn't say this because I said, oh, audiobooks are #1 way. In addition to Libby, I also use our other app that is called Hoopla, and not every library I found out offers Hoopla. Most libraries do offer Overdrive, but not everybody offers Hoopla. Hoopla is kind of like a streaming service, whereas like Libby and Overdrive, you have to put stuff on hold and it's not available and you have to wait. Hoopla, whatever is there is there. Think like Netflix, like multiple people can watch the same thing at the same time. So Hoopla is the Netflix for books, comics, and e-audio stuff. And sometimes they have TV shows and movies on Hoopla as well. I think it's a wonderful app. One of my favorites for reading digital comics. I absolutely love it. But Hoopla is also another place where I get my e-audiobooks, and it is a place where I check out most of my comics. So if you see me reading a lot of comics, a lot of times they're actually digital comics and not the physical comics, and I still get my fix in because I'm a huge comic book reader. The second way that I've begun to read more is on my phone and on my Kindle. So My daughter is growing now to the point where she is learning to self-soothe, and she is pretty much a good champ at just putting herself to sleep. Like once I place her in her crib, she's pretty much at that point now where she's good to go. But prior to that, I used to have to rock her. So while I was rocking her to sleep, I usually would pull out my phone and I would read ebooks on my phone. Now, like I said, I don't necessarily use Libby and Overdrive for my ebooks, but I do like read a lot of books on Kindle Unlimited. So to read those on Kindle Unlimited, I do use my iPhone. I also do use my Kindle, and a lot of times I get e-arcs. So it's nice that I can like go back and forth between the two, because sometimes my Kindle can be too big, and sometimes my phone can be too small, depends upon the situation. So what I end up doing is that I pull up the Kindle app on my phone, and I'm able to read anything that I have in my Kindle library, which is absolutely amazing. It's just a great way. So if I had to put everything in order, I would definitely say that audiobooks are probably like my main grouping, and then after that it's stuff on my phone, and then after that it's physical books. Physical books are stuff that like I can read in the evening time after she's gone to bed, and maybe I have like an hour or two to spare in the evening just for myself. Like right now I'm filming, and I have probably about like an hour and a half before like she has to get up and do her last feeding for the night. And usually, you know, like I've already showered and but for the sake of filming, I haven't done any of my nightly routine yet. Just because I was like, I would have my bonnet on at this point. But typically I have like a 2 hour, 2.5 to 2 hour time frame in which I can read, which I do use and try to maximize as much as possible. So not only have I changed up my formats in how I read, but I also am very careful about my time now. I think that when you become busy, whether you're a new parent, whether you have a new job, whether you have just new responsibilities and your schedule becomes tight, I think that setting aside time and actually scheduling time makes a difference. So I know for a fact that by the time I put her down and stuff like that, like I said, I have about a 2.5 to 2 hour time frame in which I can do reading, and I use that time for reading. I won't say that I don't watch TV or that I don't enjoy watching movies, but I save a lot of that stuff for the weekend. So I know I could be doing a lot more reading during the weekend, but I look at the weekend as more of my time to like catch up on TV shows, maybe binge something on Netflix, kind of hang out with the baby. Like that's our quality time. So during the week, I am really like buckling down on how I schedule my reading time. So I make sure that I'm reading at least 30 minutes, even if I have that big time frame and it's like, you know, I just want to just chill and just relax, or maybe one night I just want to go to sleep early. I do make sure that I do set aside at least 30 minutes a day to read. My goal for this year, I think, was to try to at least listen to slash read about 100 pages a day, and I don't know if I'm really reaching that goal because it's a little bit harder to tell with the audio, so I may have to kind of change that up a little bit, but that kind of helps you read a little bit more. So I would say, in addition to maybe thinking about changing formats, also thinking about how you're using your time, because time can be a big thing. Like, you know, like I said, I do watch TV, but in the time that I can watch a 30-minute TV show, I could have done 30 minutes of reading and just watch that TV show on the weekend. And that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. That's just how I operate. Not saying that this is a perfect fix for everybody. Maybe you want to do all your TV show binging during the week, and then during the weekend you spend your time reading. It's solely up to you, but I will say that having a set amount of time every single day to read is super important. That way you are getting your reading time in. I think the last piece of advice that I can give y'all is be gracious with yourself. Like, be very forgiving. You're not gonna always reach your goals. You're not gonna always read as much as you want to read, and that's okay. I think sometimes, you know, in our bookish community, whether you are a booktuber, whether you're a book blogger, whether you're just on Twitter, whether you're just on Instagram, I think we get caught up sometimes in the expectations of what people have, and we kind of forget our joy for reading. So yes, while I can maximize the amount of time that we read, like I'm not gonna like be disappointed with myself if I spend my time that I was supposed to be reading with my daughter instead, or I decide that I just want to lay on the couch and just, I don't know, just chill out, or maybe, there's a magazine that I want to flip through, or I just want to sit and listen to music and draw, or, work on my creative side. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves, and we feel like if we don't reach these, great, but sometimes just huge goals of like, I need to read 200 books this year, I need to read 300 books this year. Like, sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves, and I think that sometimes it's okay just to take a step back and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something else today. I think that that's also a way to keep your momentum in reading, is to sometimes take a break. Definitely take a break, because sometimes it's easy to burn out, which we end up falling into our reading slumps, and then we end up not reading anything for months. So just kind of a recap: try changing the format. Like I said, ebooks, definitely audiobooks first, ebooks if you can, and then fit in physical where you can. Definitely try scheduling your time, think about how you're using your time, and then pace yourself. Just pace yourself, and you'll reach whatever goal you reach. I mean, I always tell people, think about it. In the bookish community, we have obscene goals of reading 100 or more books a year, and the average human being on the planet, we're lucky if they read one a year. So be very graceful with yourself. Be gracious, and know that whether you read 5, 10, or 300 books, like, you're doing great. You're doing great. And I will say that, like, to my parents, whether you are, you have a partner, whether you're single doing this thing, like, you're doing great. You're doing great to even pick up a book, so be proud of yourselves. As always, y'all, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're interested in following me on social media, all my links will be down in the description box below. And as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll be back with another video soon.